Morning, guys. I thought this morning might be a real good time to dissect the signals a little bit. I still get questions on how do you enter, what do you do, what do you look for, all those things. But what do you see when you see this chart? You see a bunch of arrows, a bunch of lines, a bunch of signals. Well, you don't know what to do with them. I mean, obviously this is an entry. This is an entry. But what do you look for? Let's go to this morning. This is before that little pump this morning. What do you look for? If you were trading the signals, you would have been in this short. Now this threw a trend shift. We knew it was going to go down a little bit. We didn't know how much it was going to go down, but we knew it was going to go down. Well, we also know that we've been running flat for a while. So, sooner or later, it's got to pop one way or another. So, right here. She actually started to build some momentum right here. So, we threw a long signal. We would have entered the long. It threw a short. You wait for the second candle. It's really weak. It's a price flip. Goes back to a long. So you would have ridden it from here to here. You would have jumped into the short signal here. You would have got a strong trend shift here. You would have rode it down to here. Now, you got a long signal here. You got a trend shift here. Now, these are still really weak candles, right? They're really weak candles. Now we throw a major trend shift. This is when you get into the long. You can gamble and take it here, because chances are it's going to go up 2 or 3 candles anyway. But this is where you would have gotten in. And you would have stayed in it. You would have taken profit here. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Now there's nothing in here that tells me to get out of this long. There's no other signals. Sure, it went down a little bit, but it didn't throw a signal. So that tells me that it's very weak volume and nothing's going to change. It's just going to run sideways for a little bit. Go back into the uptrend. We accumulate here, goes back up again, goes back up again. And then she starts to run sideways. We threw a trend shift here. This would have been a good place to get out. You could have entered the short here and rode it down. And then she starts to go sideways again. So this is where the bot would be buying and selling every few candles. This is a 3-minute chart. But what you have to look for is you have to look for the major things that are going on in the candles, right? Major trend shift right here. Got a long signal. You got a trend signal. You jump into a long. You come up here. If you're running the bot, you take profit. You run it back up to here. And as soon as you start seeing these really weak candles, like this doji, you can either sit tight or get out. The choice is yours. 9 times out of 10, I'll sit it out and I'll let it ride until I get a short signal. Right here. Then I would have jumped back into a short. But if you're watching the Bollinger Band, and you're watching the center line of the Bollinger Band, what do you see? You see this is breaking below it. Now she's on it, she's breaking above it. And once she breaks above this line, she's going to go up. But what goes up's got to come down. So we came up here, we broke above the Bollinger Band, we touched it here, we couldn't reach it here. That tells me she's coming back down. So we come back down. And we broke below the center line here. Couldn't break below it down here. Well, that tells me she's going to go back up or she's going to run sideways. So in this case, she's just really, even though we got a short signal, she's really just going sideways. And this is where we're at right now this morning. We got a little bit of action. You can, if the bot's running, you're probably not making any money because this little bit of movement isn't much. If I go to, we go to the 15 minute, and we look at the same scenario on the 15 minute, what happened here? We broke above the Bollinger Band, we started coming back down, we touched the center line, but we didn't break below it. Well, that means she's going to go back up. We got a long signal here. You see here, she touched the center line again. She's trying to go below it, but she couldn't do it. We touched the center, we broke below the center line here. She's going back up. We got a strong trend shift. You got a trend arrow and a trend shift. These are both alerts. If you had the alerts set, it would have fired the alerts. And you're going to ride it back up. It's going to take profit. And we get back up to the top up here. Let me shrink this back up. Broke above the Bollinger Band. Couldn't sustain it. Came back down. She's going to run sideways. She's going to run to the top again. She's going to try. Couldn't do it. So maybe a candle or two and she's going to reverse. And right now she reversed and she's running sideways. So what's going to happen? Who knows? You know, we can't predict the future, but what we can do is we can watch the alerts. And we have to watch the market sentiment. So, this is what you look for. This is what you have to do. That's a 15 minute. Let's go to 1 hour. Okay, so this is at 1800 hours, 2100 hours. We got into a downtrend. Broke below the center line. Rode the outside of the Bollinger Band. Couldn't sustain it here, so we run sideways. Tried to make a run for the lower Bollinger Band here. And threw a trend shift. So when it throws a trend shift, you know that there's something going on. So it's coming. You just don't know when. So you're getting a bunch of these little candles flopping back and forth. I'd be out of this. I wouldn't be trading in here. But here, once I got this trend shift arrow, I would have jumped back into a long. And then I would have rode this all the way back up. And this is where we're sitting right now. Now if we go out to the 4 hour, what does the 4 hour tell us? Well, 4 hour didn't lie either, did it? We were in a downtrend here. This was a downtrend arrow. We got a strong trend shift here. Tells me it's going down more. And she did. She went down more. Now we got a trend shift arrow here telling me it's going to be going back up. Trend shift alert here telling me it's going to go back up. And of course it went back up. The alerts don't lie. You just have to know what to look for. Sometimes you can get in them a little early, sometimes you can't. Could you got in this early and rode it up to here? Sure. You have to watch the signals. If you're not watching the signals, all you're doing is asking for trouble. This is a 12-hour chart. On the 12-hour, back on the 8th, it told us we were going into a long trend, and we did. All the way to here, to the 23rd. We got a short signal here. Could have jumped on that. We got the trend shift here. Trend shift arrow tells me it's going back down. Now we're looking at half days here. This is a 12-hour chart. And we continue sideways. This was the little dip we had for the last couple days. And now we got a long signal. This is today. And we've got 5 hours to go left on this candle. Now, is she going to be going back up? Probably. Who knows? Let's look at the daily real quick. If you're trading the daily, you would have gotten into the short here, and it told you. You got a trend shift, you got a trend alert, she's going down. And she did. You gotta take profit here. You can let it run sideways. If you want to let it bounce in the candles, you can do that. If you're running the bot, she would have bought and sold at each alert. But I probably would just, if I was doing the daily, I would have rode it all the way to the next trend alert, which is here. Here I would have switched positions. I would have gone long. And let it ride up. You're going to run sideways a little bit. Just keep your eye on it. But there is no other trend alert being thrown. So it tells me the trend isn't changing. The trend is staying right where it's at. So she's going to go back up. We got a trend shift, trend change here, saying it's going to be going back down. We got the trend shift here, saying it's going to be going back down. So if you jumped in it here, you rode it to here, and this is where we're at today. So what's it going to do today? Who knows? Probably going to go back up. But that's what you look for, right? This isn't just a bunch of lines and colors. It isn't. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of lines and colors. But they're all telling you what to do. All you have to do is follow them, right? All you gotta do. You can keep using gut reactions. You can try trading off of trends. You can try trading off of TA. You can try trading off of all kinds of things, right? You can't buy better signals than these. Can't do it. Go back to the 3-minute. Tells us we're going down. Tells us we're going to go sideways for a little bit. Got a little bit of a trend change here in a 3-minute. We got a trend shift going on here. We can write it back up. Another trend change here, write it back down. Trend shift down here. This tells me it's going to continue down for a little bit. We got a long signal here, and we got a trend shift here. She's going back up. Honestly, you can't buy better signals than what this script throws. You just can't. It's not out there. It is not out there. This information that you guys can get your hands on, some of you have your hands on it, all you do is follow it. That's all you got to do. And it'll fire the alert and tell you when you have to do it. You know, these trend changes will fire an alert and it'll say, hey, wake up, there's something going on, and it'll fire the alert. Ow, shit. Fell the other day and I hurt my hip and I'm just friggin' dying here. But anyway, this is exciting stuff. And this isn't available anywhere else. This is only available here. Right? 7-minute chart. Let's see if we can get this to go. 7-minute chart. We could have got in here and rode it up, and we could have stayed in it and just rode it across. These really weak candles tells me it's going to switch. It tried. Couldn't accomplish much. Jump back into long. We're above the center line in the Bollinger Band. 9 times out of 10, she's going back up. Broke above it. Riding along it. Can't get above it. We got a trend shift and a trend signal here. We got a short take profit here, and we're going back down. And now we're just bouncing along the center line again. And what's it going to do? Who knows? Follow the signals. Signals don't lie. Either going up or it's going down. And it's going to tell you it's going up or it's going down. And what's the probability of it going up or going down? Well, the probability is pretty strong when it's throwing the trend changes. You know that when a trend shift and this arrow hits, it's going down. Same thing here. When you get an arrow and a trend shift, she's going up. How much? Who knows? But you know it is. Anyway, best signals on the planet. Better than any signals group. And this will work on any pair, any exchange, anywhere. And you have your very own buy-sell signals. And alerts to tell you when to get in, when to get out. And alerts to tell you when to take profit, when to do a stop loss. All of it's right here. Does not get any easier. Anyway, I thought I would dissect a chart real quick so you guys can get an idea. I'm pretty excited about Blackbeards. It's really an awesome set of indicators. And we'll talk to you guys later. So long.